Welcome to episode 15 of Wine Terroir, and on this episode we are going to hit the white wines of Mt Etna. Today we're going to be exploring Etna Bianco, the white wines of Mt Etna. And outside of white Burgundy, this is one of my favorite white wine regions that have a lot of minerality, acidity, and really interesting fruit profile, and they age pretty well from what I've been able to see so far. In Etna, there are a couple white grapes, but the main workhorse grape is Carricante. And in Etna DOC, the basic Etna Bianco wine that is labeled Etna Bianco, there's a minimum of 60% of Carricante required. And usually the rest is taken up by Catarratto, which has a max of 40%. But there's a couple other grapes, like Minnella, that is allowed to take around 10 to 15%, which is basically not a very aromatic grape. Now, there is another classification called Etna Bianco Superiore. So as I said with the red wines, there's some designated areas, and Superiore must come from the town of Milo, which is on the eastern side of Mt Etna, and around 950 meters of elevation, so pretty high altitude. And in this Superiore region, or around Milo, the minimum required amount of Carricante is increased from 60% in the DOC to 80% in the DOCG. Most people that try to make Etna Bianco Superiore usually try to get 100% Carricante, which is by far the more superior of the grapes, which is very similar to the red wines where Nerello Mascalese is the star. In this case, Carricante is the star, easily, hands down, the better varietal compared to Catarratto, which is pretty common in the rest of Sicily in general. Today we're going to be tasting one of the wines that, while I was in Italy, every time I tasted some of the great Superiores, one of the ones I kept coming back to was from Benanti, which is one of the older producers. And so Benanti makes a regular Etna Bianco, which is great and all, but this Pietramarina, this Etna Bianco Superiore, is an amazing wine. What's interesting is this is also grown in a bush vine, essentially a freestanding vine that is not trellised, that they call Albarello. This is a local how the grapes have grown. Okay. So kind of a medium lemon color on the palate, not quite gold. You know, little inflections of gold, maybe due to the age, but it's pretty much a lemon color. Medium plus aromatics. One of the things I love about Carricante, it's a little bit something that jumps out of the glass. Not quite pronounced. For me, I get a steely kind of almost petrol, but not quite there. Kind of more like think of like canned peaches, that kind of like tinny note on the nose. And then I go into a more like a melon, cantaloupe, a granny, like a green Jolly Rancher kind of Granny Smith, really green apple. A little bit of white flowers. There's really a lot going on in this wine. Something I get a lot of times with Loire Chenin Blanc is this what I call copper penny. It's kind of like metallic-y note, which again is probably back to the canned peaches kind of aroma. And you probably shouldn't be tasting the can when you're having your canned peaches, but it's just something that I relate to, and I'm not sure why. Okay, so let's taste this on the palate. The wine is dry. It's very, very dry. Medium plus acid, like really a solid acid profile that I really, really like. But you get a pretty like medium plus full body, not quite full, but a pretty rounded wine. So to have that acid level combined with that body, that really makes this wine really, really interesting to me. Again, like a lot of like rocky, metallic-y, steely minerality on the wine. Alcohol, medium. It's a 12 and a half. I would say medium intensity on the palate. It's not as expressive as it is on the nose. I'm getting more like a pear, canned pears, cantaloupe still, melon. Let's call it wet rock, dried flowers, little potpourri action, white flowers, almost like a sunflower seeds, like salted sunflower seeds. Again, a touch of that petrol. This is viscous, good acid, and cuts through, and it makes you want to go back and drink some more. There's almost like this lingering acid that just dries out your tongue and is like, okay, let's go for some more, or put some food in your mouth, and then let's have another sip. Let's call it a long finish. I'm still tasting it from about a minute ago. That is what I love about these wines, and it's what I love about like Grand Cru Chablis, to be honest. I often say that there's Chardonnay and there's Chablis, and for me, Etna Biancos, when done right, are up there with some of the great Chablis of the world. I'm really liking this wine. Let's call it 93 points. This is a beautiful wine. This is something that I think will age beautifully. And if you get a chance, check out Pietramarina. It is a single vineyard, and it is, every time I've tasted it is delivered. It is a beautiful wine. Thank you for watching. I'm hoping you like this 3-part series on the wines of Mt Etna. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the bottom on the YouTube videos. I look forward to engaging with you. I'm also going to post some screenshots of these wines on Instagram and also Twitter and Facebook. So please give us a follow if you're on one of those platforms. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Please help support the cause by subscribing and liking our videos. Okay, thank you very much. Take care. Cheers.